Hey, all right, there we are. We did it!
Woo!
Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone, episode 294, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
John.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night, or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel, but perhaps an even better way to help support the channel is head on over to craftcomputing.store, pick up one of our fancy pint glasses, coasters, bottle openers, you name it, and start drinking like a pro. We do drink alcohol on the show, obviously, and if you're drinking something along with us tonight, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat, and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to the Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
They're saying the name. Oh no, it's fixed on my end.
I did it while I was talking.
Look at that.
Yeah.
People are saying Rhett never looked so good.
We're all Rhett on this blessed day.
Yes.
Cursed day, maybe. Cool. How's it going, John?
Oh, busy. I just got. I was chatting with my boss the other, I think it was yesterday or Monday. So the other day. What I thought was the message was him saying, "Hey, next week I'm going to be gone Monday and Tuesday." I was like, "Okay, cool, 2 days." No. It was, "I'm going to be gone Monday till next Tuesday." And I didn't read that. And so then I get the, I don't know what he's called, like head of HR or head of human resource or head of, I think he gives himself the president. I don't know what that means. Manager. Anyways, one of the big wigs comes up to me. He's like, Are you ready to take over next week and be in charge?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's like 2 days. I do that all the time." He's like, "No, he's going to be gone for over a week." Wait, what?
Okay, well, that should still be fine.
Yeah. It's just one of those of like, oh, great. No. Crud. It's going to be me. So, usually though, when that happens, it's like I don't start any projects. I'm just like, my day is devoted to just calls, and if I don't get them, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. I could go into stories about my past employer, but I choose not to at this point in time. Something like, "You can't take a week vacation." Really? Because I'm the manager, which means it's my job to make sure everything runs. And as long as it's running, you didn't even notice I was gone, did you?
I know.
Well, then what do we pay you for?
Yes, I know. Yeah. Everything's broken. What do we pay you for? Everything's working. What do we pay you for?
Yep. Oh, that it turns out after I left.
Yep, I know. I know. Everything runs smoothly, and then I take a day or two off, and everyone goes, "Oh, we're so happy you're back."
Yeah. Wow, there's a name I haven't heard in the chat for a little while. Jason, having a vanilla macchiato imperial stout from Oakshire.
Oh. Well, I mean, they're still around. They're still doing stuff.
Yeah, I just hadn't... I haven't seen them around in a while.
The only ones I've seen out recently or out in bottle shops are like the Hellshires. And I'm always looking at them, and I was like, I've always loved buying them. They're always delicious, but I'm just looking at like $27 right now. I could buy 3 other. I love good wax dip stuff, but man,
wax dips in this economy.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I'm like, that's 3 or 4. That's a 12-pack and a decent. I had triple IPA.
Yeah, I say that I bought 1 wax dip today, and it's probably the first wax dip I've bought in at least a couple of months. Headed to the bottle shop today, and they happen to have a Fort George Matryoshka. So picked that up.
Good.
Yeah, I haven't. That's a bottle I've not seen this year, so I'm gonna go ahead and snag that.
Yeah. No. Unfortunately, like that's most of my money ends up going to Tavor now, and then I'll go to the bottle shop and be like, oh, I used to buy this, and I know it's really good, but I've already spent all my money.
Right. Oh, first world problems, John.
I know.
I've already bought all this amazing beer. I can't buy more amazing beer? What about second beer?
Yeah, what about second beer?
Secondsies. Brunch. Good times. Well, speaking of beer, what are we drinking tonight, John? I'll let you go first.
Oh, I forgot to grab it out of the fridge.
Uh-oh. Okay. Well, I don't want to spoil all the fun, so I guess I'll just read a couple of these. Harley's got a Phase 3 Lake Trip American Pale Ale, Centennial, Simcoe, and Chinook hops at 5.5%. That sounds wonderful. Nice little moderate session IPA there. Williams got a Rushing Duck Brewing Beanhead Coffee Porter, 5.7%. Slow Hardware, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Jeff and Rhett, let's go. Has Luke responded to your 1v1 Halo CE? I haven't reached out yet, but I don't think... I think we're a little too close to start organizing something like that. My schedule started out as like, yeah, I have like one thing I'm doing, and other than that, I'm just going to be like attending like everyone else and walking around. And now all of a sudden, it's like my schedule. I think I have like 3 1-hour gaps in it. It's like all of a sudden I'm doing everything at LTX, and I'm very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. But suddenly it's a working vacation. Like I I've got meetings with vendors. I've got,
All right. So I got one of my favorite breweries, Toppling Goliath, and it is their Dragon Fandango sour. So it's a mango, passion fruit, dragon fruit. Very fruity, but not high in the ABV as it's a hot day. So 4.2%, very red.
Nice.
Never had this one before.
I've not had this beer either. This one is actually from Independence, Oregon, believe it or not. It is from Parallel 45 Brewing. It is the Electric Dream Machine IPA. And I had to get it just for the can.
Right? One of those.
Yeah. So yeah, 7% IPA. No information on it whatsoever, ever, other than it's a 16 ounce and 7%. So there's a little bit of John in that can art, I will say.
There's a lot of. I mean, if the hair color is just a little bit different,
right? But no, there's a lot of John in that.
Electric. I've heard of the brewery.
Yeah, Parallel 45. Not to be confused with 45th Parallel, which I believe is a Michigan brewery. They're one of our halfway between the equator and the pole brethren.
45.
Yeah, I live basically on that line. Let's see.
Electric. Yeah, there's nothing even on Tavor about it.
Wow.
7%, only 68 check-ins, so
cool.
Relatively new.
Yeah. No, I happened to see it in the bottle shop today and went, that looks interesting. Got a 4-pack for like $13. And yeah. So gotta love the look of it in our craft computing pint glasses too.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have a spot on the pint glass, John, with my logo on it. I was actually looking at cutting you some with the Hops and Brews logo in the middle there.
Oh, I'd take one. I'd take a few.
Yeah, I'll get you a couple of those. Because I have that kind of power.
Well, yeah, it's called a laser.
Yes.
You literally have that like power grid in power supply in your house.
That was the joke. Fire the laser! Green checking in with $5. Thank you very much, sir. Repaired embedded XP system today. Tested the replacement board. Got just in case. Second boot, the replacement board. Donated a cap. within spec safe setup. Okay, I'm gonna interpret that. Sorry, I just read Vince's comment. I'll read that in a second, Vince. Repaired an embedded XP system. Got a replacement board and a second board. The replacement board had a bad cap, so I replaced that. Tested it, and it's within safe spec. Okay, cool. Vince, LTX is canceled. LTT just made a video about Ventoy instead. I've reached out to Ventoy a couple of times because I made these for PDX LAN attendees and forgot them at home, of all things. I was going to give one to every patron who attended PDX LAN, but I knocked up some USB keys. Oh. They're wooden USB keys with Craft Computing on one side and the Ventoy logo on the other, and they're laser etched and engraved, and they look beautiful. I want to sell them. And I've reached out to Ventoy, I think 3 times now, to their admin team saying, hey, I'm Craft Computing. There's kind of a meme of just use Ventoy. And so I was wondering if I could sell Ventoy USB keys preloaded with Ventoy using your logo. And I'd be happy to license the logo from you and be able to, sell it and whatnot. I'm not modifying anything. I would be using your IP, and I want to make sure everything's fair and above board. I'm not just going to, if I'm giving these away as a joke, that's one thing. But if I'm monetarily making something, that's completely else. And I want to make sure I'm fair about it. And they won't reply to me. And I so want to add these to craftcomputing.store because they're awesome.
Yeah.
So if you guys can get Ventoy's attention, I would be more than appreciative on that one. Let's see. Slow Hardware, thank you again for the super chat. Do you have a community Discord? Also, have you tested a W3175X? I saw some engineering samples on eBay fairly cheap, 28-core unlocked Xeon. Unfortunately, engineering samples aren't really the 3175X. They are 8380 engineering samples, or 8350. 82. Something like that. I think they might have been 2nd gen Intel Scalable, Cascade Lake. But they are not really unlocked. And I believe they have a base clock of 1.8 gigahertz. Remember, the 3175X was the 5 gigahertz, 28 cores, all chips, as long as you have 2,000 watts of liquid chiller under your desk at Computex a couple years ago. This was the straight-up Xeon low-bin variant, not the Extreme Edition that are being sold as those on eBay. So, I haven't tested one. I've met a couple of people who have ran them. They run them because they're stupid. They know they're not getting phenomenal performance out of it. They know it's taking more energy than God can muster through a 12 gauge wire, but they do it because of the meme, not because of the performance. While the chips may be cheap, running a motherboard for one of those is still very much not. Looking for like a Dominus Extreme motherboard, they're still like $600 and $700 on eBay and on used sites. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of generic Xeon. Gosh, what is that socket? 3746, something like that. There's not a lot of generic ATX socket boards that'll take that chip. So, yeah. Do I have a community Discord? No, I do paywall my Discord, but it's only $1 to join. What that means is if you want to troll me, it'll cost you $1. It also keeps...
come on.
Yeah. It is honestly a fantastic Discord.
Yeah.
It's and I paywall it simply to keep it streamlined. And it allows me to keep things a little bit more on topic. It allows me to moderate a little bit more, but without having to spend all of our time moderating, if that makes sense. The moderation is just, hey, move this to another channel, please. Not like, oh my god, the incels are out. We don't have that problem over on mine. No. Yeah, no, it is definitely worth the $1 a month to join. So, although I don't know what that is in Kiwi bucks. So, good luck with the conversion there.
Hey, maybe what is that?
I think it's about 40 cents.
63.
Okay.
63 cents our money.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking they'd be a little lower than Australia, but no, they're pretty much bang on. So, which does make sense also. Yeah, thank God we don't have a community. Yeah, yeah, the meme channel is worth it alone. I agree. Especially when Vince and I repost each other on a constant basis, because I guess we follow pretty much the exact same people on Twitter and forums for meme posts. So it's who logged into to social medias earlier this morning gets first crack at all the memes in there.
Oh, I know. That's half the time, and then people are calling like repost. Yeah. It's more of like, it's not funny. It's I got it first. Haha.
Yeah. Yeah, the after party is the best part. We do also do an exclusive Discord after party after every live show, where we hang out for an hour or two, drink more beer, and literally video chat with whoever wants to stop in. So if you want to talk directly with me, ask me questions. I do that quite often, every Wednesday after the show. I'm also looking at adding like a second time slot for, a midweek party or something like that. I need to find a time that's polar opposite of that one to make sure that people who don't have the opportunity to join, for example, if you're in the EU, you're not going to wake up at 4 a.m. and have a beer with me. So
why not?
We could find another time to do that. Yeah. Well, not all of you are going to do that.
Yeah. Well, the nice part too is also like other larger Discords. Like if you ping yourself, any one of the hosts, we reply back.
Yeah.
That's also the nice part.
Yep. Yeah, we have a dedicated ping all four of us thing. Mm-hmm. So like, hey, I want your opinion on this thing. One of us is awake. I guarantee it.
Yep.
Not to say that the EU couldn't wake up at 4 a.m. and crack a beer. Exactly. Joshua, is the Tesla P4 still worth buying? Absolutely it is. In fact, it's gone well under $100. You can get it downwards of like $80 now. And for a virtualized graphics card or something to sit in a server and transcode, it's got... Remember, this is the GP104 GPU die. And so it has dual NVINC hardware encoders. Now, they're the older encoders, the pre-Turing encoders, but they're still hella efficient at X264. Or excuse me, H.264. And you can encode like 20 or 25 4K like Blu-ray quality streams with one card at under 75 watts. It's insane. Or, somewhere around high-end GTX 1660, low-end 1070 performance, depending on the game and depending on, how you want to actually divvy the card up. It's a solid deal for a server card, especially on a low profile, no discrete power option. It is better to drink out of a brown paper bag at 4 a.m. No, that's just continuing drinking at 4 a.m. Because
I was gonna say it really all matters of like, are you continuing or are you waking up? Like, what is it? Is this the start of your day? Is this the end of your day?
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, with that all said, let's go ahead and get into the news, starting with last week, Intel declared that NUCs were dead, and literally like 7 days later, they have signed away the rights and future development of NUCs as a platform to Asus. And in fact, the bigger news about this is that this is a non-exclusive agreement. So Asus is going to be the primary contact if you have an existing 10th through 13th gen NUC and need ongoing support. They will actually handle support from this point on out with existing Intel NUC products. They will also get all of the designs to current Intel NUC products and be able to produce them themselves. And they will be able to iterate on those designs and come up with new designs. The non-exclusive part is Intel could also license these designs to other OEMs who wanted to get in on the party. So say Gigabyte wanted to take one of the new 13th gen NUCs and make their own box based on it. They can absolutely do that as well. This is not an exclusivity agreement with Asus that Asus is going to be the only low-power NUC-based PC moving forward. We've obviously got a lot of different partners involved with what I like to call low-volt desktops. They are using essentially mobile variants of Intel chips in small form factor desktops. You've got companies like Zotac, B-Link, Minis Forum, all using variants of these CPUs, but all on essentially the same type of platform. So the ecosystem is definitely healthy and definitely not going anywhere. But Asus now gets to officially take up the torch, and if you like what Intel did with some of the 12th gen NUCs with the GPU expansion, or even the NUC as a PCIe riser board that is, a la ISA slots, like system on chip, system on board type things, then yeah, more of that coming our way.
Yeah, I was last week when I saw that the NUC was going away, I was kind of sad. I like NUCs as a purpose. In all general, we have a few at my work, and I always like playing with them, and I'm always like, man, this thing's so tiny. And it's certain ones are powerful, and certain ones obviously are older gens that are not, but I'm always in the back of my head, I could use this for X because it's so tiny and it doesn't use any power, and with a little bit of tweaking, it can still be a pretty decent little PC.
Yep.
So I'm happy that they're continuing. I know there are other small form factor PCs, low power ones, but really that are out there that weren't NUCs. But NUC has always been the ones I've always thought about when I think of what is a small PC, compact, ultra compact PC that I wanted that does still kind of offer me some form of upgrade ability too, and that has really good performance, bang for its buck and everything. And I've always thought of that, so I'm glad that they're going to be continuing on. Asus, I've never disliked, never hated, so that's fine with me. Just as long as they don't kill it by using cheaper parts for some weird reason. I this is great. I like this. I am happy again.
Yeah, no, like I said last week, I was never in fear that the low volt style desktop, small form factor, low power was going to go away. It's just Intel would no longer be the primary OEM for a lot of these style systems. So yeah, as far as what's next, there's a lot of talk that moving to Meteor Lake, that is Intel's next generation CPUs, the ones that are going to be manufactured by TSMC, by the way, are going to a chiplet style design, a la what AMD's been doing for the last number of years now. And that could actually open the door for a lot of these low-volt desktops to use a chiplet-style Intel Xe-based GPU. And so think of like your Intel A380, your Alchemist Arc A380 GPU. There's no reason in the world that couldn't be integrated onto a low-volt CPU moving forward. And that chip sold by Intel for laptops and integrated desktops like this. So as far as like performance level, obviously we've been experiencing high-level performance from AMD as far as graphics goes for a number of years from their APUs, but Intel has always lagged just a little bit behind. Even when it seemed they seemed to be making headroom, AMD would come in and just like counterpunch them immediately. I've been really looking forward to the Meteor Lake launch, especially on like I said, the low-power Ultrabook style CPUs, potentially getting some XE graphics in there with a decent amount of compute units to go along with them.
Sorry. Ugh, got a tickle.
Well, there's a beer.
I need more beer. There we go. That helps. Yeah. No. I concur.
Let's see. Slow Hardware says, I've managed to get my 6950X i7 to come near 10900K in single and multi-threaded performance. What GPU could I get away with not bottlenecking too hard at 1440p? 1440p, you're not going to bottleneck with much outside of 3090, 4090, 4080, maybe 4070 Ti. Even a 3080, you're going to be hard pressed to find a bottleneck, a CPU bottleneck at 1440p. Does it exist? Sure. Is every game going to be perfect? No. But quite honestly, I don't think you need to worry about that so much as just buying the best graphics card you can, because almost every graphics card is still going to scale very well with 10900K level performance. The only ones that are not, like I said, are the current flagships. So your 7900 XTX, your 4090, your 4080, those style cards. So. This is not bad.
How's this IPA?
It's not bad. It definitely has. It's not very bright. It's definitely a thicker IPA. Gosh, what would I equate this one to? Somewhere between Sticky Hands and Stone.
Oh, okay.
Right. It's that resiny type IPA. Not quite as thick, not quite as dank as your Sticky Hands would be, but it's definitely a richer flavor. There's not a lot of citrus. There's not a lot of.
So maybe not a Northwest, but maybe like American IPA.
American, you know, your West Coast IPA, but your dank West Coast, not necessarily your Northwest IPA, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
and I know that's technical terms, but yeah, those.
We're getting
things.
Deep into the esoteric of IPAs right now. But yeah, no, it's definitely solidly a West Coast IPA, and there's definitely a lot of those Oregon, Washington hallmarks that are in there. You know, this ain't no Kansas or Arkansas IPA. It doesn't taste like dirt.
Okay.
Offense meant if you live in those areas. Your beer sucks and you should feel bad.
It's like grass and pine and malts.
Right. Yeah, grass, pine, malts, and the grass, you cut it... You cut it in the morning, and it's just slightly damp. Like it's that kind of grass. Yeah.
So a little sticky.
Yeah. Justin wants to know, what are your thoughts on using Seagate Exos drives for a NAS instead of Iron Wolf? Seems like Exos is better and they are cheaper. The Iron Wolf, the main thing with those is all of them come with data recovery services added in, and so you're technically paying for a 5-year warranty and data recovery if you ever needed it, versus the Exos drives are basically a very similar enterprise-grade drive. And I believe they come with a 3-year warranty. It might even be a 5-year warranty, but they don't necessarily come with that data recovery component. And so it's a little bit more like, you know, your own risk kind of thing. Seagate Exos drives are fantastic, though. I've been running a number of them for quite a few years. I think my main NAS has 7 14 terabyte Seagate Exos in it right now. and I'm actually looking at expanding using a similar drive. So yes, fantastic discs, very affordable. On Amazon, they were, I think the 12 terabytes were going for like $100 recently or something like that. So yeah, depending on where your budget is at, if it's, 10 or 12 terabyte discs, or if you're getting into the 14, 16, definitely a good option. You know what else is a good option? Hosting your services with Linode.
There you go.
Let me find my button there. There it is. Today's video episode, whatever we're on, of Talking Heads is brought to you by Linode. Hosting your own servers also means you get to host all of your own problems. And even the most skilled network engineers will tell you should decentralize your network. So why not host your services with Linode? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes software for most of the tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS server, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex servers, and more. They offer shared CPU plans for as little as $5 per month and can scale as high as your needs go, whether it be virtualized hosting, dedicated enterprise GPUs, or NVMe block storage. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site, because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode is also expanding at light speed, with 12 new global data centers planned before the end of this year. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. Again, that's linode.com/craftcomputing, and again, a huge thanks to Linode for sponsoring today's episode.
Ew. I just turned off, well, I still have it.
Huh? What?
Doesn't matter. Nothing. I turned off the tab for our live stream. YouTube.
So you okay over there?
Yeah, no. I got it. I'm back. All right. Oh, well, I just use it for chat. All right. Pop out chat. That's what.
All right.
Pop out chat. We're good. Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Cool. All right. You have to be worried over there. Next story is going to be a little bit of a discussion on the industry as a whole when it comes to big tech, specifically big software. And I haven't prepped John at all for this. I just posted the story. So as long as you've read the story, you're probably caught up with where I'm at. And I think we can talk about it in general. So CNBC reports that Microsoft stock jumped after it announces a $30 per month AI subscription service for Microsoft 365. If you're not caught up, what that is Microsoft has announced that they will be integrating ChatGPT as a Clippy style assistant. They didn't say that. I'm saying that.
I was going to make the same joke.
Right. As a Clippy style assistant, writing prompt, how do I use Office 365? What button do I click? Natural language AI chatbot in Microsoft 365, but they hadn't previously announced a subscription service for it. Now, they are saying that if you want access to ChatGPT and that AI assistant, and your organization subscribes to Microsoft 365, it's going to be $30 per user per month.
Exclamation word.
I don't know if anyone's priced out Office 365 before, but plans start at like $3 a month for organizations. $7 for fairly well-equipped and multi-terabyte storage plans and things like that. When you get into like the $20 a month, you're talking like, 5 nines, 6 nines uptime guarantees, individual Microsoft account reps, 24-hour support, scratch your back, wipe your ass for you. Like it includes everything. They're talking $30 more per month, per user, for ChatGPT integration into Office 365 or Microsoft 365. Holy crap.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's that I don't I don't see the benefit of it. I don't see what this is doing. Why $30? There are so many other things. I believe there's like a bunch of other tools that are pre-filled. Check my grammar. Check this. You're saying that you will pay $30 for write this story for me, or can you adjust this paragraph for me just built into 365 instead of a free version going to the ChatGPT website and just using it, or any other free AI website that are already out there, especially with Microsoft's AI or Bing's AI is already free, which is a Microsoft product. So $30 for something like that. I mean, I didn't read exactly what the features are, but I can't see it being worth that. And I almost wonder if this is, I don't know, what's going on here. There's other business nefarious going off with it, but writing prompts, design, whatever. I mean, everything's using these AI prompts, and I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't. It's a good tool. I understand AI is a good tool, but including it into everything and integrating it, but then making it a paid for service when it's already free in all these other places. I understand they gotta do it. 50 cents, $1, fine. That makes sense at least.
The problem right now is ChatGPT as an algorithm is immensely powerful, but it also requires an immense amount of power to make it all work. And right now, the reason you can get, Office 365 and all the associated, bells and whistles is because storage doesn't cost crap for enterprise. What costs money is compute. And ChatGPT is a 100% compute model, not a storage model. So right now, if you're Microsoft, if you're any number of tech companies, if you're Alexa, if you're Amazon or whatever, you're trying to figure out how to monetize this, but you also understand that unlike models that you've monetized in the past that rely almost purely on storage, this one has a back-end ongoing cost associated with it outside of just power and cooling. And it's a real cost, and it's a real thing. And while it's going to entice some people. It's going to it's going to turn some heads. It's going to get some customers signed up. It's going to move some money. You also have to make sure that your investment is paid for. Now, the problem with all this being said, is the direction of big software tech today. Look, a lot of us are already fairly displeased with subscription model services where we don't actually own platforms anymore. You can't buy Photoshop. You rent it month to month. Yep. There's so much disgruntlement, I would say, in some of the tech community. Some of the community in general who just uses software, which is basically everyone, over services like this. I'm the generation of the cable cutters. We were the first to go, I don't need a landline when I have a cell phone, which confused the heck out of the first 30 job interviews I ever had. Well, what if we can't reach you on your cell phone? Well, then you can't freaking reach me, because
you're probably more likely to reach me on my cell phone.
Right, call the cell phone. Well, what if we can't continue on your cell phone? Then leave a damn message. You're the one who invented the answering machine. So there's that whole thing. But we cut cable TV, we cut satellite, because we stopped seeing a return outside of, live sports and the occasional thing the occasional series. And it's like, well, I'd rather just pay for that a la carte if I can. And so now cable TV is as good as dead, but now we're paying for, how many subscription services do we already do we have? I mean, obviously we've got Amazon Prime, and that comes with Amazon Video. You've got I've got YouTube Premium that I pay for. Which, if I'm being honest, if you have over 100,000 subs, at least YouTube could kick you that per month. Like could we just
Yeah, I know.
You took away my personalized rep and the person that I could call if I ever had a problem or a question about YouTube. The least you could do is make me not watch ads on your platform anymore. As I'm drawing hundreds of thousands of eyeballs per month.
I know.
Can we just agree for that?
I'm invested in your company. You gave me literally a plaque that shows how devoted I am to this platform, and you're like, nah, still pay us.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. And I make I make money from YouTube, but they're still taking money from me. So it's all kind of yeah. Yeah. But we may have gotten away from, paying for satellite TV and paying for home phone service and all these other things that, your boomer parents probably still have. But in my job, I'm reliant on so many different subscription services to keep data flowing, to keep these other things going. So, I mean, Prime and Premium, yeah, I could probably do without those, quite honestly. I could wait a couple more days for my packages. I hardly ever use Amazon Video. I could sit through ads for YouTube, but at the same time, a YouTube Premium subscription does benefit creators that you watch more than ad revenue does, and so paying back into the platform, yeah, it's the least I could do. And it saves me time. But things like Adobe, things like Google, I have a G Suite or Google Workspace or whatever they're calling it these days. They seem to change the name about once a month, and that's been once every 6 months, and that's been a common thing over the last 9 years with Google. But whatever they call it these days, I own domains with Google. I host my email and storage servers with Google that are cloud-based storage. I pay for individual accounts for myself, all of the hosts, so they all have email if they need be, or we're registering for an event and they need a corporate email address. I have to keep those accounts active and open. I've got a merch account, I've got a management account, I've got a business account. All of these are different accounts that I have to pay a monthly fee for. It's like $12 or $13 a month. I pay Google $150 a month to run my cloud services. I'm not exactly the largest cloud footprint in the world. But it's kind of a necessary thing unless I want to host my own domain on my own servers. And I'm sorry, I'm just not that masochistic anymore.
Yeah, I don't get what this brings. I read the article 3 times. Like, I still don't get what this brings. I mean, they're saying it's a 50% increase. The subscription based. I agree with everything you're saying. Of all of the stuff that we're paying for now, Office is subscription based, and Adobe and all those things. Even today, my wife was looking for a good video editor on her phone, and I was trying to find one, and everything is, if it's free, then you get a watermark. If it's not, here's a subscription for $1 to $10 a month. Mm-hmm. And then there's another app that you got to subscribe for, and then there's everything is subscription based now. Mm-hmm. And actually, as you were going off of the whole wire cutting thing, it almost led to us being the problem of we made it subscription based for everyone. We kind of got too into it. Our generation got to like, hey, you can make money off it. So that all the big ones are like, everything's now subscription based. Mm-hmm. I think right now, at least in the entertainment business, we are seeing a downfall that it got too big, and they're trying to have to consolidate. All of these streaming services are collapsing, and then they're buying each other out.
Who could have ever foreseen that an individual studio doesn't produce enough content to require a subscription service? You know, quite honestly, Netflix was the answer, because if you can't, most individual studios, no matter who you are, you know, Disney, Apple, outside of that, who is large enough to maintain their own catalog and require a subscription service for it? Netflix, every once in a while, they get hot, but then they also get cold with, you know, oh, this wasn't an immediate success and didn't immediately spike our subscription renewals or things like that, so we're just going to cancel it after half of the season. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to cancel my account anyway because I liked that show. And
now there's no reason for me to stick around.
Right, there's so much short-sightedness almost, and not enough just like, hey, let's just allocate, you know, $600 million a year to making original content. And then I guarantee we could make that back, you know, by making shows and things like that and having things to come back to. That's literally Disney's business model anymore. But yeah, it's to the point of Microsoft charging a $30 per user per month subscription to use ChatGPT in conjunction with their Microsoft 365 accounts. While ChatGPT is insanely powerful, unless your business and your employees require that workflow, man, is that going to be a hard pill to swallow. You know, as they said, adding on a generative AI subscription should reportedly cost enterprise users an additional 50% or more per month. And like I said, I know what Office and Microsoft 365 subscriptions cost on a per user basis. Like I said, they start at about $200 to $250 per user, depending on the size of your organization. And, you know, they go up quite substantially depending on what services you need and add-ons that you'd like. You know, organizations that I worked for frequently saw, you know, $12, $14, $16 per user because they needed all these additional services or extra, you know, extra benefits or things like that. $30 on top of that, though?
Well, also, like, who is getting to keep the data that goes through the AI? Who, you know...
Microsoft owns it.
Yeah.
Right. If you type something in the chat GPT, that becomes Microsoft's property. Now, the thing about content generated by AI, no one can own that. You can't copyright it. Microsoft can still data farm it and say, was this a good response? Was this a bad response? Use their own algorithms and analytics to figure that out. But you as a user or a company, if you're relying on it for writing code, that code is not trademarkable. If you're relying on it for writing articles on the web, you can't copyright or trademark those articles if they're generated by AI. Now, that brings up another question of, how is anyone ever going to know?
There was that. Well, I think it was a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago. There was, I forget what company, but they were trying to figure out like a bug in their system, and they asked ChatGPT, and then their code essentially got leaked because they had to say, "Hey, can you find the bug?" They found the bug, and then someone used that code as a solution, which then they were like, "Oh, we know this looks like it's for." I forget.
Right. We talked about the Samsung. Yeah. It was Samsung that did that.
Thank you.
That's they uploaded a section of code and said this keeps bugging out, and ChatGPT found the bug, but because they uploaded a string of code, that code is now part of ChatGPT's database.
Yeah.
Of things that it can look at and pump out as output. So,
I mean. Yeah, how much crucial information do people use for Microsoft 365 for sharing files back and forth?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if they use like, hey, copy and paste, make sure into ChatGPT, can you help me phrase this better to sound XX or format this in a better way? Boom, that information is now Microsoft's. Even if you have autofill, I believe then it's scanning everything you're typing. And if it's supposed to be using ChatGPT, that means ChatGPT is, you're basically typing into ChatGPT first. It's almost an overlay of a skin. And then, as you say, send email out or send message out, it goes through ChatGPT, then you're emailing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's just a theory. That part is a theory of how they were probably doing it.
Yeah. The end result is, obviously, ChatGPT is hugely powerful and has implementations and usage paradigms that we haven't even fathomed on this show, or are never going to approach on this show, simply because I may not have that use case for it. But there are companies out there that thrive on content generation, on being the first to report something on an article, and heck, this goes into our next news story. Let's just jump to that one, and then maybe we'll wrap it up with a little AI. nVidia launches the GeForce RTX 4060 Ti 16GB without seeding review samples to anyone. Because apparently no news is better than bad news. If you hadn't seen this, the 4060 Ti is $499. $100 more than the 4060 Ti 8GB model, with all of the same specs, all of the same boost, and more importantly, the same crappy 128-bit memory bus. Mind you, I kind of forgave that on the 4060. It's really hard to forgive on the 4060 Ti at $400. It's even more difficult to forgive now that you're paying $100 more for literally 8GB of video memory to be tacked on top. That's like $11 in cost for NVIDIA, if it's even that much. It might be as little as like $1 a gig.
I know. It's just that you're saying 8 gigs for $100. That's nothing.
Because I haven't torn down a 4060 Ti. The memory pads might be there. Like, they might have just put the chips on it and populated it. And boom, we've got 16 gigs now. Same TDP, same memory bandwidth, same PCI Express interface, $100 more.
Well, that basically is maybe they just wanted to put it out there to be like, just for stat boards. I don't know, just to say like, look, there is a 16 gigabit version out there.
I've accused NVIDIA of trying to fill every single market segment at every price point, regardless. Like, every $50, we have to have a new SKU. We have to have another SKU to saturate the market. And that has been their strategy over the last number of years, is market saturation by obfuscation. And there's so many different SKUs and models of GPU out there that eventually you're just going to say, well, I just have $400, so I'm just going to buy this one. So yeah,
I mean, I guess that technically I see the strategy, but the SKUs, just trying to keep up with them, and the overhead and the backstock that they're going to have is ridiculous. But yeah, I get it, to where like this then stops their competitors from hitting that tiny little midpoint, and then having creators like yourself argue about, well, technically this is a better budget and you're getting that little bit more, but it's not really, but the problem is, because they're doing this so much, it's oversaturation. It just doesn't bring anything special to any of their products. Nothing looks good anymore. They're just overpricing everything that they're doing, I guess. It's almost like a brewery just releasing an IP, and all they're doing is just changing one of the malts and making this huge ordeal of.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, another 8.4% hazy. I wonder what's in this one.
Yes. That's essentially what it is. And then we're coming back now like, oh, these are all tasting the same. all of these video cards are literally the same. They're like, well, no, this is special. Check it out. It's got an extra 8 gigs. Yeah, that's like saying you went from an 8% IPA to an 8.2% IPA, and you're charging me an extra $4. Now it's $8 a can.
But mind you, the step up from this is the 4070 at $599, which only has 12 gigs of GDDR6X versus 16 gigs. But if you don't have the power to drive performance of all the textures that require 16 gigs of buffer, the RTX 4070 looks like an absolute waste of money as well now. Like, you literally diluted your own product line by trying to fill a stat sheet. I don't even know anymore. Like I said, I was tired of all the negativity of every single graphics card that launched has sucked over the last years, but eventually you do need to like take a step back and reevaluate. And I don't want to get back into that conversation today, but I did give the RTX 4070 and the 7600 a bit of a pass because they performed within 5% of each other. They cost $20 different. And they're still faster than the last gen in 85% of instances. There's a couple instances they're slower. We can complain about that all day, but if you bought a 4060, you're going to be 11% faster than a 3060. And if you bought this card, then it doesn't matter if you matched performance in the last one. It doesn't matter to the end consumer. So that was kind of my point. Anyway, holding the manufacturer accountable, that's another conversation. And that's where the reviewers all get it completely right. But telling the consumer don't buy anything, that's a crap take. Anyway, I'm willing to forgive some things on cheaper products. I'm willing to forgive, 128-bit memory bus on a $300 card, as long as it performs where I think it should perform. And my average for the RTX 4060 at 1440p high settings was 96 FPS. Okay, cool. Is it going to struggle in one or two games? Yeah, it is. It's going to struggle if you feed it 4K textures. Your 1% lows are going to fall in a couple of very specific circumstances. But for the most part, it's a solid performing card at $299. Is it the best value we've ever had? No. But at $299, I don't think you're going to be unhappy with your purchase either. That was that. The 4060 Ti, $399, 50% faster. 4,352 CUDA cores versus 3,072 CUDA cores. Similar boost clock. Same memory bandwidth. There's some problems with that. Same 8 gigabyte buffer, which means you're not getting any more memory for your money, that kind of thing. But it is faster, but it's also going to be more subject to memory bottleneck limitations and memory headroom limitations because you have the GPU power to push those settings a little bit higher, which means you're more likely to run into memory and memory capacity limitations. The 4060 Ti, I know I fought against this, but holy crap, what a crap offering. Holy crap, what a slap in the face, kick in the balls to even exist. And I am so not that person, but whole God. Ugh. It's unforgivable at $500. It is absolutely unforgivable at $500. Some things I can forgive at $299. I can't forgive them at $499. And 128-bit bus with no additional CUDA cores, no additional performance. Oh, and the step up from that has less memory. Yeah. Product stack's designed to make you buy the best thing only. That's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah. I don't know. It's seeming like it's going back to the whole, what we were talking about just before, the 20 series and everything, or the 30 series, where it was that huge jump, and these are now coming back to being like these tiny little upgrades that they're only giving you. Now this is like a tiny performance boost because this is absolutely no performance boost, it's just a memory boost, but then they're kicking you and be like, yeah, here's $100 extra. The next one, it's $150 more for a 8% boost, something along that lines. With the 20 series, that was like a 40% boost, and we're like, oh wow, these are going to be cool cards.
Yep.
Even the 30 series was like that, and the whole 40 series in general just seems to be majority of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hope this doesn't continue.
I'm still going to do my best to deliver, hey, if you need to buy a graphics card, here's the performance you can expect. But especially with the 4060 Ti, I saw that Steve at Hardware Unboxed paid 1,000 AUD for one, just for research purposes, just so he could rip NVIDIA a new one. And again, I'm not that style of YouTuber. Like I love looking on the bright side of things. As a consumer, am I going to be happy if I bought it? Versus industry as a whole. I'm not an industry analyst. That is not my role. That is not where I fit into this thing. And there are organizations that do it far better than I do. But I can still review individual products, tit for tat with the best of them. So don't take that away. I can't wait to see what Steve says about the 4060 Ti.
What was it? Allison was saying that he's got a RTX 3060 12 gig and looks better every day. It's like, yeah,
it really does. I kind of picked that as like the golden horse too. Like if you're gonna hitch onto something, what was it? $340, $360, something like that.
It's selling right now, $250 to $300.
Yeah, no, but when it was released, it was
when it was released,
$360 or something like that.
Yeah,
I went. That's the one to latch onto. 3060 Ti, yeah, you get more for performance, but man, I am a little bit worried about that 8 gig buffer. But the 3060 12 gig, I like what that's putting down.
Yeah,
stand by that today.
Yeah, I think we even talked about getting that one even at the 360, 350 mark, because we were looking at $400 cards, and we were like, no, that's the better deal, because you take that extra savings and $50 to $100 that you probably get, you pop that into more of internal memory or a better hard drive or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's still true today. It's already dropped down $100 in price, and now you can use that money in a better power supply, better storage, better internal RAM, everything else.
John, if anyone needs a better power supply, it's you.
Hey, my bronze 1,000-watt power supply, it may be melting slightly. It does glow after if I leave it on for an hour, but it still works for that 1 hour.
If you could all see John's power supply, that video never made it to air, and holy crap, what an injustice to humanity as a whole. If you could see the power supply that John has in his PC, you would literally gasp.
It's 1,000 watt, so it claims. It's 1,000 watt and weighs as much as this empty beer can. It says it's 1,000.
John,
watts.
I think the aluminum casing is worth more than the components inside. There's more money in the wiring going out of the power supply than there is in the copper inside of the power supply. Does that make sense?
It's copper coated, Jeff. It's copper coated.
You're right. It's zinc. How would the 4060 Ti 16 gig compare to a Radeon 7 across the board, do you think? It's interesting you bring that up, because I recently picked up a Radeon 7 and I wanted to benchmark it as a $300 graphics card, because I picked this up for $275, $285, something like that. So yeah, Radeon 7 benchmarks coming to the channel soon, as well as 2080 Ti and Titan X Pascal. I'm going to benchmark all of those as like potential like $300 save your money, get an older card crap.
Yeah, those are selling for pretty decent prices.
Yeah. No, Radeon 7, can I just say, one of the most attractive cards of all time. I don't even care if it performs well. I had to own one. I did get a chance to meet with AMD at CES when this card was announced, and I said, "Hey, I'd love to be one of the first reviews for that." And they said, "Okay, we'll call you." And they never called me. So, to be fair, last time I was at CES, I had 90,000 subscribers. So,
but we had a cool camera rig that made us look big.
We looked badass.
We were the baddest ass looking YouTube channel there.
Yeah.
Everyone was sore holding that thing.
No, that was PAX. That we had the big ass shoulder rig. Yeah.
Yes, that was PAX. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no, the last CES was me and Steve actually, and I had my Zcam. So we
that would still look pretty cool.
We run and gunned with a Zcam with manual focus and cine lenses and everything. Oh, that was a riot. That was a lot of fun.
What do we bring into our thing?
We will be bringing, hold on, this guy. This is the A7 IV.
Oh, okay.
Full frame Sony. Autofocus Tamron lens. It's a 28-75 f2.8. Digital only stabilization, but still, fairly easy to hold on to.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to record to SD card. In studio, I record to an Adamus Ninja to record in ProRes, but I think the clips that we're going to be doing are going to be fairly short. And so recording to SD card in X265, I think is going to be just fine. As far as workflow and things like that. So all the Vegas hookers were impressed, Steve says. Oh god. So Rhett and I went and covered AWE 2023 a couple months ago in San Jose, the Augmented World Expo. And we had press passes, so we were walking the floor early and checking a couple things out, and while they were setting up, and this one girl walks up and she's just staring at our badges like we're early, we're obviously press, you can treat us like humans, like, but she went and she just read our badges and she went, okay, creator and camera guy, and she kept referring Rhett as camera guy, and I don't know how the joke got started, but it became Herbert from Family Guy being the muscly arm cameraman, and so for the rest of the weekend it was oh, you bring that fat ass camera over here. Waiting for the muscly arm cameraman to shoot my good side. Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, the jokes
didn't make it into any of the videos.
No, it did not.
See, what we need to do now, we need to take all of those while you're filming those, and those go on the craft short side.
Yes.
Or the extra. Yeah. And then that's where that all needs
just
to go.
the show anecdotes.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, so
we'll put them on Discord.
Yeah, so nVidia obviously didn't seed review samples of the 4060 Ti because the only thing that I can think of is they didn't want the negative press. Like, they're check cashed with me, which means I'm good to say with whatever I want at this point. Kidding. But man, $500 for a card that performs less than half as well as the 4070. It doesn't perform any better than the card below it either, just simply has 16 gigs of RAM. What an absolute kick in the balls. We need Jeff to talk in Herbert's voice for the rest of the show. Get your fat ass back here. Yep. Get that sound clip.
That's going to be clipped already.
I'm sure it is. Can't wait to see it.
Somebody make a short out of that.
Yeah.
I might do it.
There you go.
I think I'm gonna make it my mission tomorrow.
Well, I'm finally ready for my second beer.
All right, I was getting hot, and so I opened my small one. So I'll save my bigger one. But I had the Voodoo Ranger Juicy Hazy IPA. Wait, what is that? What is that?
Oh, it's a crowler.
Oh, it's a crowler. I was like, I don't see a label. Wait a second.
So I went to the tap house today and went like, I want some fresh beer for my show. Like, cans are great. I love cans, but I want something on draft. And so this one's a left field choice. This isn't like a barrel aged stout. It's not a rare beer. It's a beer that is not readily available this time of year, though. I went with Freem's Winter Ale.
I wouldn't call that fresh then.
Well, I was there last week, and this keg was not on there. That could mean one of two things. That could mean they pulled the keg and put it in back storage. It could also mean they had saved the keg and just now tapped it.
That's or it could mean that they tapped the keg and they're like, we got nothing else. Let's just pop this in there.
Right.
Like I did with the cider.
Right. Totally could be. I will say, I took a sample before I bought the crowler. And
in all honesty, if done correctly, nothing happened.
Nothing happened because there's no O2 coming into it.
There's no O2 to even compromise it. So it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. So anyway, a fresh draft winter ale in July.
As my wife, hey, Christmas in July.
That's right. And that was kind of the idea. Was today would be almost the Christmas in July show. That's actually next week on what is that, the 26th? I think is next week's show. But yeah, so we got a little Christmas in July beer.
Wow.
Freem Winter Ale. This is a 7.5, I want to say.
You say Freem.
Freem.
I thought you said cream.
No,
Freem. Yeah.
Freem.
Freem. Yes. Freem. Freem actually, they took over the port. They now have a Portland brewery.
Yes.
Location.
Yes. They took over the
Vagabond.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So they're right next to OMSI now.
Okay.
So instead of having to travel all the way to Bend, we can now travel to just right next to OMSI.
Yes.
So you can get your beer and go on a submarine ride. Ooh, look at that. I can see right through that thing.
Isn't that pretty? Like, holy crap. A little bit of red to it. Ah, it's beautiful. Plus, if I crack a crowler, that's what I'm going to be drinking in the after show. So, legit 5-head on that beer. No, that's actually almost exactly a proper pour.
That's a proper pour.
So,
winter ale should also have a nice thick head.
Yeah. Too. Michael's drinking a strawberry ale, undisclosed ABV. Is that from Treehouse by any chance?
Oh, I was going to say it's probably mine.
That sounds like Treehouse. I actually didn't even think of your beer when he mentioned strawberry ale, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, that joke's gotten so stale.
I've moved on to John Jay and his like 19% strawberry ales that he brings me. So. Although Novell Hub got the joke for me.
Yes.
So for those new to the show, there's a couple different stories there. Number one, the first time I had John over for drinks and dinner, he brought me some of his homebrew.
This is like 10 years plus years ago.
12, 13.
Yeah.
It was like 2010, maybe. So John goes, "Oh, I do homebrew now." Oh, cool! Like I love craft beer. Let's have some. And he goes, "This is a strawberry ale I've been working on." So he cracks it open and he goes to pour it, and it pours for like a half second, and then the bottle stops, and then literally like a ketchup bottle, he goes, and then a whole strawberry falls out of the bottle.
So, and then like the rest just explodes out. as it like foams in the glass. It's over fermented. It was
Uh-huh.
delicious. Those 4 ounces were delicious.
They were.
That made it into the
They
glass.
were rather good. I will say
Yes,
they were rather good.
It was chunky. I still claim to this day I am the grandfather of Slurpee sour beers.
Of smoothie IPA, of the jammy sours.
The jammy sours. I invented those without knowing it. That was all me.
The second said instance of the exploding beers, that actually happened in my last house.
Yes.
So I had a studio above my garage, and it was always hot in the summer. We had no central AC, and my office caught sun from 7 in the morning until 9 at night. It was just, there's no trees, there's nothing. It's just all day. I'm facing the sun. Anyway, John had sent over some homebrew to box up to ship to a patron of ours, and they're sitting in my office just for a couple of days, and I'm sitting there doing work like late one night, and I hear pong, like it sounded like someone threw a rock at my like metal garage door, like that was the sound that And so I run downstairs, I run outside, I'm looking at my door, I check my cameras, there's no one drove by, no one walked by, there's no dents on a car or garage door, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And I'm sitting up there a couple days later, and pong! It goes again.
Yeah, that was I think it was a live show too. Another one happened with Steve.
Right. I don't think we discovered it on that live show. I discovered it a couple of days later. But yeah, we're on a live show and pong, and I'm looking around going, what in the hell was that? Can't find it. Turns out John's homebrew is exploding in the box. Like 7 of the like 12 cans had burst on me. Leaked all over. They were just sitting in the corner of my office in a cardboard box. And so even if they leaked, it's being absorbed and then evaporated off. And so I never really knew, except for the box was stuck to my floor when I finally discovered it.
Oh, that's right, because those were the first ones I started canning.
Uh-huh.
And that's probably why it made the a loud explosion.
Yeah, no, it was not quite to the point where you could like feel it.
It was 3 different beers. I don't remember which ones I gave.
But I was kind of surprised I couldn't feel that pressure release like in my chest from the same room, because at least 3 of them happened in the room with me.
I gotta go brew another. I should make even a live video or something. Brewing a beer again.
I've been saying you need to get your brewery kit back out, and
I do.
You need to make that a core of your channel. Hey, today we're gonna make this beer.
And the amount of money I would save versus buying versus making. I should go do that. Do all 8 of my taps, and I'll have to live off that for a month. Next year.
Yeah.
I prep.
I mean, why not?
I know. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing like 2-gallon batches. 2-gallon batches would be fun to start doing. I did think about starting to do something like that, to where I can brew like a quick 2-gallon batch.
Yeah.
And then just be like, because then I can just turn and burn basically.
Yeah.
5 gallons takes a while to get out of. But
I've been looking at finally doing some homebrewing of myself, and I've been looking specifically at doing like 2-gallon batches of things, because I'm not one to want to drink the same beer for a month.
Yes, that's always been my problem of just, okay, I could probably do like a 12-pack, 24-pack of the same beer, but then I don't want that beer for a while.
Yeah.
IPAs are nice because there's hazies, juicy, sours, all that other stuff. So I can kind of get around drinking those, but man, if it's the exact same beer all the time, 5 gallons is a bit much.
Yeah. All right.
We do got some alcohol beer news.
We do.
For, like we were talking earlier, if any of the UK or English viewers ever do make it on here, there is a particular beverage that might be making or is trying to make its way over here from the UK, and specifically Bourbon County, Kentucky, is where they're going to be start hitting it first, and that is sheep's milk vodka. Did not know this was a thing, but apparently
you can make vodka from anything.
I actually did have, I think I posted in the Discord last week, it was curd whey vodka, which is probably pretty much exactly what this would be considered. But Black Lion vodka, which vodka is basically just distilled sugar, essentially.
Yeah.
And then,
vodka is a grain distillate spirit, non-aged.
Yeah. So yeah, they didn't call it a vodka; they called it a spirit, and then they claimed it was closer to tequila.
Or it's not even grain based. It's literally just a
sugar.
Yeah.
Malt,
yeah.
Malt based. But so it's Black Lion vodka, and the guy's specifically name is Tim Spittle, and he is trying to bring this.
No, that name makes me laugh.
This unique beverage to the States, thinking that it's going to be a thing. And specifically, he's trying to break into Bourbon County, Kentucky. Probably not, in my opinion, the best place to start a weird vodka.
In the heart of literal bourbon country.
Yeah, I know. They're claiming it's good. If you like good vodka cocktails, let's go to Bourbon County, Kentucky. That's where you're going to find the best vodka cocktails.
Yeah.
Probably not. But they are planning on distributing nationwide eventually. I looked into this. This article didn't say that, but I looked into other ones.
Yeah.
So if that does sound intriguing to you and you would like to drink fermented sheep's milk, which at the same time I did not know that was a thing. I guess it's goat's milk, right?
Yeah.
Is it basically goat's milk?
Yeah.
Or is
hints of floral, warmth without fire. It has heat in the back of the palate.
I don't know. It was just weird. I was like, why? But yeah, I mean, that's what everyone in the UK, if that's what you guys like drinking, that's cool. Fine by me. Let's see. We got one more little bit of beer news. Now, I don't know if you guys got to the beer news last week. I didn't stay that long.
I think we did cover Anchor potentially closing. I think we at least mentioned it.
Okay, so the world famous, one of the longest, I think the longest craft brewery, 180 years. Anchor Brewing, known famously for doing the Christmas beer and a few other ones, was announced to be closed last week. Well, there might be a slight glimmer of hope, as there is now a potential fundraiser for a guy named Matt Walsh, who is a serial finance investor, is trying to buy Anchor Brewing and keeping it pretty local and still alive. He's got more than 200 invested in over 200 companies, and he's got almost 30 other people interested in joining with him to try to purchase Anchor Brewing and keeping it alive in some form and some way. He was stated that he would even likely been trying to buy it ahead of time if he knew it was even up for sale, but just didn't know till last week. So he has a petition going for change.org to save the brewery. He's even thinking about launching a GoFundMe to even just help keep it going. So if you are a big fan of Anchor Brewing, personally, the only beer I've ever really enjoyed from them constantly is the Christmas Ale. I do see it all the time.
I believe they had a Gose that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember the name of it, but for some reason Anchor and Gose just sticks in my brain.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I think they're really mostly known for, at least for my end, that Christmas Ale.
Yeah.
And I usually I'll go to my at Christmas time. One of my favorite or wintertime favorite places to go is John's Marketplace, and they have what's called like the barrel aged tree or the specialty tree, and they have like it's a rack, but they just fill it with trees or beers, and it looks like a tree.
Yeah,
Christmas or pine tree, and a lot of times they have aged Christmas ales from them, and those are kind of sought after, like the Bigfoots, Sierra Nevada type stuff. Just aged Christmas ales that are specialty, and those are the ones I see, and those are the ones I buy, and they're kind of that collectible. You buy it every year, or you buy something and save it for a couple years.
I must be thinking of someone else, something else, because they don't make a Gose. They do a West Coast, they do a Revolutionary Pale, they've got a California Lager, Crisp Pilsner, San Pancho, Steam Beer, and a couple others. So, and then obviously their Christmas beers, which are their seasonals.
Yeah, but they've been around for a long time, and they're a big staple of the San Francisco community.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if it was, because it was announced, I think even like 3 weeks ago, that they were just going to brew within just the local area to try to keep that alive. So if that's what he's trying to do, and then maybe go beyond it, great. So if this is something you like, and that was one of your favorite beers or breweries, seasonally or regularly, if you're from the West Coast, specifically around the California area, maybe check that out. You might be able to help save it.
Yeah.
And speaking of beers, I am out of mine, so I'm going to go grab my third and final beer.
Cool. Let's see. Sounds like John's fridge, mini aged beers. Dark Sky Steve says, Heads Up Nerds, severity high, OpenSSH remote code execution. Wow, there's a 0 day bug in OpenSSH related to remote code execution. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. I had not seen that one yet.
All right, I got a double IPA from Nightmare Brewing. Let's see if we get to the art alone is always fun to see from Nightmare Brewing. Very graphic in general. A lot of medieval torture devices, and it's called Mancurda. It's a double IPA. I love how their double IPAs are 10.2%. Oh, I smelled it already.
I love beers like that. You crack it open at arm's length and go, oh yeah, that's what I want.
Oh, yes. Easy. Oh, let's see. Brewed with Galaxy, Comet, and Polaris. Whoa, that's a lot of booze.
And when John says it, you know it's true.
Oh man, they're just a bunch of. Shouldn't have done that little bit of pour. I think all the haze is on that. I think I'm gonna regret this one. It's
tangy.
For that first half a second, it's good, and then that malt, and then the liquor with the fruitiness of the hops kick in, and you're just like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You like, know it's probably too much when it's too much for either me or John.
Yeah.
And what's really funny is if you guys want to know our palates, the limit of our palates, go back and watch our review of the Scottish Belfire on Hops and Brews, where by the way, this is was it a 75%?
I think 74%.
Yeah, 74, 75. Yeah, we usually measure that in proof or like 150 proof. But no, this was a 75% beer. Which there's no way they fermented it that far. There's got to be some tricks involved because
it was. I found out later, so it's like a 25% ice bock.
Okay,
and then freeze
distilled.
No, that would be freeze distilled down to the 25%, and then they just put ethanol.
Oh wow. Okay.
So because Europe has a different definition. The EU has a different definition of beer.
Yes.
Than what we do. So, like, even Dogfish's Head snake venom doesn't technically classify as a beer because they do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Anyway, 75% beer. And it was really funny because all four of us Craft Computing hosts tried this beer. And we got like 1.5 ounce pours. And I was the last one to try it. I watched everyone else try it, and they're like, oh, God. And I tried it, and my first reaction was, wow, that's hot. And then my second reaction was, I don't know, maybe like a little butterscotch finish. Like I'm getting flavor out of this, guys.
Yeah.
But then, after the cameras were off, we all had a little snifter of scotch.
Oh, that was awesome.
It tasted like water.
It was. It burnt. That stuff burnt our taste buds off. It was. Yeah, we had some. Oh, I think it was like not what scotch. What it was. It was.
It might have been the Sexton Irish single malt. I think is what we had.
It was like either Sexton or the 12-year.
Glenmorangie, Glenfiddich, something like that.
Right, the Viking. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I remember doing the 75%, and I remember like it was hot. It was still hot. It was still like, holy crap, my mouth is on fire.
That was a fun video.
But I still got some flavor out of it, and I still had my wherewithal to go like, no, there's something here. Like it starts here, and then it's a little high, and then it comes down, and I'm getting a little butterscotch and things like that. And but then I distinctly remember afterwards trying some whiskey and being like,
I could drink this. Nothing. Yeah, no, it was the weirdest thing because we were kind of thinking, oh, let's have a good palate cleanser or something like, hey, because we were all chit-chatting, and we're like, oh, we haven't seen each other in a while, and so together physically, so we're like, hey, let's chit-chat and stick around. So, let's pour, everyone get your glasses back out. We'll pour a little snifter of this, or something, and we just started drinking. Like, this tastes like water.
Like literally nothing. Like I feel there's something on my tongue. There's nothing there. Oh.
It was the weirdest feeling ever. I really wish we would have gotten that part on video.
I do too, because that would have been
great.
That would have been funny. We do have one story left to get to, and then we could probably open up to a little bit of Q&A. By the way, I love scotch. I love scotch too. Scotch. Down it goes, down into my belly. Sends over a $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Rank Linux distros. Do you want me to die? Because that's how my death warrant gets written. When I say one is better than the other, or I claim support for one or another, or anything like that.
You'll get a lot of comments in the chat or afterwards.
Yeah.
A lot of interaction on this video if you do, Jeff.
Can I just say I'm so tired of reading some comments, especially after the last couple of videos. I did my bike review. I did the Mihogo e-bike review today, and one of the comments I received on my Mihogo LX 4.0 100-mile review was 93 miles is not nearly enough to form a full opinion on a bike and the ins and outs of it and the daily use and everything. I put 93 miles on this thing. And I named this a 100-mile review. I don't know if you know this, but words have meaning where I come from. And
well, he was like, "Oh, that you didn't technically say 100 or do 100."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
No, I had done 93 at the time of filming, and actually during that day of filming, I put more than 7 miles on the bike. And so even like towards the end of it when I'm riding the bike, those are miles that are going on the bike. And if you know the Salem area, I did not cover a small distance in that video.
No, I mean, I know all the places you went to. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, I put 4 miles in just like B-roll footage, just getting a couple trails and things like that into there. The trails that I rode that day were not the trails that I got my experience from, but they're also representative of trails that I rode on. So, yeah. As a 6'4" man, I appreciated your review immensely more. Thank you very much. Yeah. That was the one takeaway that I really got out of that bike was, holy crap, this is a bike meant for tall people. When you say up to 6'10", I go, yeah, but I'm 6'4". There's no possible way I still fit. I raised the seat 4 inches and left the handlebars at their lowest position. And I fit very comfortably. The only other item that I own, the only ever item that I've ever owned that I can say the same thing about are these chairs. My Gamdius Achilles chairs. This was the first ever item I received on Craft Computing where they said, hey, can you review this? And I said, tell you what, if you send me 2 of them, I'll make sure they're on the show for 6 months. And they went, cool. And they've now been on the show for 6 years because they're the only chair that is tall enough for me to sit in. And in fact, it's at its lowest adjustable point. And my knees are at a 90-degree angle, and my feet are flat on the ground. I've never owned a chair like this in my life. And it's held up over 6 years of literal daily use of 8 to 12 hour daily use. I like these chairs so much, I bought one for myself at work when I used to go to an office, and I would sit in that for 8 hours a day and then come back home and film videos and sit in this editing video for another 4 hours a day. I like this chair. I like this chair very much as a tall person. But tech for tall people coming soon. Thank you, John. Jay does Linux reviews. Yes. Jay, Learn Linux TV, fantastic reviewer, does a whole bunch of amazing deep dives in Linux and whatnot. Good friend of mine, good friend of the channel. Does it have a sidecar option for Ret? No, unfortunately, no. The 750 watt motor is the limiting factor there, and I got into that with it being such a heavy bike. Go watch the video if you're interested at all in e-bikes. I don't want to make this an e-bike review video. Hey, Tim checks in. Techno Tim. Good to see you, man. I need a tall person chair too. Gamdius Achilles. I'm 6'4". My knees are at a 90-degree angle and my feet are flat on the ground. And it is the most comfortable chair I've ever owned in my life as a tall person. So, get Gamdius to send you one. I guarantee, Tim, they will send you one. Or 2. I said, hey, I do a live show. Can you send me 2 and we'll sit in matching chairs? And they went, yeah, just make sure they're on the channel for 6 months. That was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and Techno Tim with a $5. How's it going? No, how's it going with you? What's going on?
How's it going, babe?
What's up? Anyway, yeah, I don't know where I stand with YouTube commenters as of late because, I know what I'm doing with bikes. I've built multiple bikes from hand. I've restored a number of bikes. I've done so many different things with bikes. My daily driver Schwinn Rocket 88 that I referenced a couple times in the video, I took that as a bare frame and rebuilt it by hand. I know what wrenching on a bike is. And if you say, you don't know what a piece of crap this bike is until you've wrenched on bikes. I wrench on bikes. All bikes are a pain in the ass to wrench on. That's the definition of wrenching. Ask any Ford certified tech what they think of Ford vehicles, and they go, all of them are just pieces of crap, pieces of garbage, day in, day out. It's because you spend your life repairing the worst of what Ford puts out. anything that you have to repair is the worst thing you've ever had to repair, because something stripped out, something didn't work right, some bolt backed out, and now you're left here picking up the pieces. Perspective, people. Perspective. Yes. But apparently 93 miles isn't a long enough time to get a good feel for a bike. So tell you what, next time I'll cannonball run it before I bother giving my opinion. That and just tack on all the RTX 4060 comments on top of that, and we'll be good to go.
See, that's what you needed in that video, though, was a GPU commentation while you're writing. And that's what you actually should have done. Should have commented on the 4060 Ti while you were writing it. That would have boosted the comments really high.
I'm sorry. I love Scotch. I have not been that shocked in a long time. John, I want you, as a computer enthusiast, to highlight adapter PXE8112 PCIe bridge and just Google search it.
Okay. Now, wait, what is that thing? How tiny is that thing? Wait, what is this for?
Hey, John, do you fathom what you're looking at right now? Can you explain to me what you're looking at right now?
Well, it's a PCIe power port. Wait.
Check your chat video. Here's the card.
Oh, okay.
Here's what this is. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see what it is that you're looking at right now? It's a very specific thing.
Okay, I want to say something, but it sounds stupid.
Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
Is it literally a slot just to change the angle?
No.
Is that all?
Oh no. We're getting into some good stuff here.
Okay, what is it?
This up top is PCI Express X16.
Okay.
This on the bottom is PCI.
Okay. But that doesn't translate.
PCI is a 133 megahertz bus that was popular in the I don't know, Windows 98 days.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, who would still have that?
This is for plugging PCI Express cards into PCI motherboards.
Who would have that?
I don't know. But technically PCIe and PCI are bus compatible. I've just never seen it going this way before.
But okay. What would you need to transfer or even have? Like, this piece of hardware, I need it. I need it in my new PC. What are they building? What is it? I love Scotch. What is it for?
Do you know? Here's a potential answer for you. Okay.
All right.
If you've ever had like one of those ITX Atom motherboards, like think of like the Atom 330X or something like that, like the dual core Atom ITX motherboards. They have a PCI slot on them.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
This would allow you to plug in a PCI Express graphics card. Running at 133 megahertz frontside bus.
Why though? Why? I mean, there's some hey, okay, hang on. Do you need it for nostalgia? Like, if you were going to,
it wouldn't even. Nostalgia's the wrong direction, though.
No, but
if I wanted to plug a PCI graphics card into a PCI Express system and maybe pass that through to a virtual machine, that is something that exists. You can buy like an FX 5500 and pass it through via PCI Express to a virtual machine and run a Windows 98 virtual machine with a virtual output.
Yeah.
And game to your heart's content. What in the ever-loving?
Maybe you're nostalgic to the card. I don't know. Like, what if you have like an old Voodoo card you wanted to use?
For that you would need to go this direction. This is the other way.
That was the one I was looking at.
Yeah.
So on my side, that's the one I was looking at.
Yeah. So this is a PCI Express X1 to a PCI 133 adapter.
Yeah, that was literally the exact one I was looking at.
That's funny. Yeah. I have so many questions.
Well, we can do the last little article if you want to, and then just get into a couple minutes of question Q&A. Even though I'm pretty sure we've already been doing that.
Technotim says, I need an ISA to PCI to PCIe. They are all technically bus compatible, aren't they?
What is that? What does that mean? Where you see all the different adapters to get like the old mouse onto a USB?
Oh no, the old one is like a DB25 to DB9 to gender changer to DB9 to PS2 to PS2 to USB to USB key.
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen that picture.
You've seen that picture, yeah.
I had a guy when I was in high school and doing like freelance computer repair try to plug in a USB stick legitimately that way before.
A USB stick would not work that way.
Not so many adapters, but he literally had a DB25 to DB9 serial, so parallel to serial. Mm-hmm. He then had a serial to PS2 and then PS2 to USB. He skipped a couple of gender changers in the middle, but it really doesn't matter for the sake of the story. No, I've legit had someone try to do that before. So I have the Sony Vaio Pentium 2 desktop, and it only has one USB port, and I'm trying to plug in this USB key, and I have these adapters, and so I strung them together, and I plug in the USB port, and it doesn't come on. Can you explain to me what's wrong? I said, no, I cannot explain to you what's wrong. All I can say is that's not going to work.
That's not the type. It doesn't read that. No.
Super nice guy.
Isn't that how it always is though? There's always that one friend. Why does this? He's a super nice guy.
Yeah, drivers would be a nightmare as well. Motherboard nostalgia. Please use this in a video. Use a 4060 just to spite people. I should really run like one of my old Atom boards with one of these adapters and run a modern graphics card, even if it's like an RX 6400 or something like that. I think that'd be funny.
Again, more craft extra content.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Yes. Anyway, we do have one more story, and that is that the Activision Microsoft takeover, for some reason, the deal is now extended to October, which actually works to the benefit of the FTC, which wanted to blow up this thing anyway. Now the FTC is within the timeline parameters to be able to appeal this prior to the contract deadline expiring. So unless it closes earlier, the FTC may still be able to blow this thing up. That's the story. That's the whole story. Obviously, this is the largest tech takeover in the history of tech takeovers. What is it? $69 billion is on the table for Activision Blizzard. Yep. It's a lot of money.
10,000 developers.
Yeah. 10,000 developers, a dozen different studios. This would make Microsoft one of the largest game developers on the planet. The real only detail that you need is that Microsoft avoided having to pay $3 billion in termination fees stipulated by the original agreement if the deal falls through due to the FTC. But if the deal falls apart after September 15th, they're now on the hook for a $4.5 billion payday in termination fees. So, right now, if the FTC comes in and torpedoes this deal in the next 6 to 8 weeks, Microsoft is free and clear. If it goes past September 15th, though, Microsoft now has to pay Activision Blizzard $4.5 billion.
Whether they buy them out or not.
Right.
Yeah. So. I don't know. Microsoft because this is a while ago that we talked about this. I don't know. Microsoft, I don't like them buying this, and being essentially a monopoly on one of the largest game developers ever, and so that we would only have basically two major game developing companies.
No, there's far more than that. I mean, Activision's one of the biggest out there monetarily, yes, but that's mainly because of Call of Duty and the couple of IPs that Blizzard puts out, a la StarCraft and Diablo.
Well, I guess that when I say monopoly, I mean like the problem is like the gaming sports world for video game. I forget what is.
It's owned by EA.
Yeah.
EA has the contract for developing, with the exception of NBA basketball, which is held by 2K. EA owns FIFA, NFL, college football, rugby.
What is it when you get you're actually a sponsored team for for playing video games?
Esports?
Yeah, just esports. Not esports in the sense of like basketball, but like, Blizzard playing, there's Warcraft tournaments and everything like that. Blizzard and Activision is known for having some of the most profitable. So people tend to lean toward those. And that's, I guess, my version of the monopoly, because most people want to be good at those so they can make monetary value out of it because they want to be on a sponsored team.
Right.
There are plenty of other big boxes out there, but there's not a big tournament money driven as much as Blizzard, Activision, all Call of Duty, stuff like that.
Correct. Yeah. When it comes to high-end, high-dollar gaming, Activision Blizzard is king because of Call of Duty, Overwatch, Diablo, StarCraft, Warcraft, etc. And so, that is a major consideration.
And the fact that Microsoft then would be owning basically one of the biggest player, in my personal argumental opinion, on that, I don't know. That's just kind of hard.
My only counterpoint to that is one of the biggest benefactors isn't the right word. One of the biggest proponents of open gaming, that is platform agnostic gaming, over the last 5 years has been Microsoft. With the Xbox Game Pass, with multi-platform multiplayer being such a huge thing, Microsoft is the one who spearheaded bringing Call of Duty multi-platform to Fortnite, Xbox, Windows, Steam, etc. And forced Sony and Valve to play ball with that. And numerous times Microsoft has actually been the one to go, I don't care if it's on Windows, as long as everyone can do it. And they've actually been one of the biggest, I would say, champions of platform agnostic gaming over the last half decade than anyone else has. And I believe Microsoft's game leadership is right now realizing exclusivity deals don't work the way we think we do. They get a higher upfront payout, but a lower long-term overall delivery because no one cares about the games anymore. What you need to do is let all players play the game no matter what platform they're on and have the same experience and be able to play the same levels and against the same players as everyone else. Because that's what will make your game multi-generational, multi-interest vested, etc. And Microsoft has been the champion of that more than anyone else. And so when I hear people going like, well, Call of Duty is just going to become a Microsoft exclusive now. Microsoft went out of their way to go, no, for the next 10 years, we'll bring Call of Duty to PlayStation. And actually signed an agreement with PlayStation this last week, which they haven't even signed an agreement with Nintendo, but they included in their press release that we're also going to bring it to Switch. So they don't even have like a binding agreement with Nintendo, but they went, yeah, we're going to bring it to everyone because it should be platform agnostic. It's just a game. And it can run on anything. So why shouldn't it?
Yeah.
So
I mean, that again, I just
now that all comes down to Microsoft being the good guy in the situation and not the monopoly holder. And I still share those worries, but I'm saying if there's a company I worry less about, it's probably Microsoft in this particular instance.
Yes. Well, we were earlier talking about issues with subscription based and 365, and I got problems with that whole enterprise area on their side, but gaming obviously is a different company for Microsoft. But yes, I agree with what you're saying. Everything, those points are all good and beneficial. I do enjoy the multi-platform aspect. I hope they don't turn into the bad guy, because you're the good guy for long enough, you eventually find yourself becoming the villain or you die. What is it? You die the hero or eventually become the villain, according to Batman. All right. We got a couple minutes here still. So if anyone wants to chat, we can. If not, I believe, caught up on Strange New Worlds.
I was
going to say Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
So we can talk Trek.
We can talk Trek.
So if no one says anything interesting that's worthwhile, we're gonna end up doing that.
Now Blizzard games are starting to come to Steam. Yes, they are. Although Blizzard does still operate their own launcher, as does Activision for things. But everyone else runs their own launcher anymore anyway. I really wish Valve would have stood their ground on, no, if you want to run on Steam, you run on Steam. It's annoying doing everything else and just aggravates me to no end. But whatever. Yay, Trek all day. Pike has Beeb. Beeb? What?
Beeb, awesome. Ben, I think that's Ben. Probably Pike has been awesome.
Pike has been awesome? I don't know. Funniest Spock episode ever. That one was pretty good. The most recent episode. I loved some of the Pike comments that went completely under the radar.
Which episode?
The most recent episode. Spock becomes a human because of... for those who haven't watched episode 5 of Strange New Worlds, I'm going to tell you spoiler alerts now, although nothing that's really not in the episode description. Spock is in a shuttle accident and becomes human. And this causes conflict because his fiancée, T'Pring, her mother is
basically has to meet the parent.
Has to meet the parents, right.
Yeah, got to meet the parents.
Exactly. And so... and comedy ensues, right?
Yes. Exactly.
The script writes itself. Anyway, so Spock is in a shuttle accident. Aliens resurrect him. He's now human. He has human ears. His emotions are that of a juvenile adolescent. Of like
puberty, essentially.
Basically puberty. I feel angry and horny all the time. Is this normal?
Yeah.
Yes, it's totally normal.
Yeah. Like a senior in high school.
Yeah. So he doesn't want his mother to find out. So Spock's mother, who is human, beams aboard the Enterprise and wants to see him. So Spock comes into the transporter bay, and he's wearing a beanie to cover his ears. And she goes, "What's with that ridiculous hat?" And he goes, "It's not ridiculous, it's regulation." And then Pike, under his breath, goes, "I have one just like it."
Yeah. Yeah. No,
the little digs that Pike gets in, like as a second thought, as you're absorbing the joke, are gold in this episode.
No, it's good. You know what I really enjoy this versus, and I really, really enjoyed the third season of Picard. I mean, that was just
chef's kiss all the way.
Yeah, right, all the way. But this versus Picard and whatever the weird
disco.
one with the disco one. Episodic. The episodic, but it still continues the story of just like, hey, this is a week later. Very similar to TNG. DS9 did this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was still, hey, time's traveling forward. This is just another thing that's going on. And the stories are very episodic, which can lead to, this felt like a modern version of an old one. Like you said, shuttlecraft, have to meet the parent, script writes itself. What happened in TNG? Picard turns into a child, and the Ferengi take over the ship. The script writes itself.
Right. Worf enters a temporal void coming back from a Batleth tournament on Kronos, and now he's experiencing like 6 different timelines, in one of which he's married to Deanna.
Exactly.
And another he's totally not. And
he's weak Worf in another one.
Right.
He's like
but I love these episodes. I dearly, dearly love these episodes.
This is what Star Trek to me is much better this way. Whether you're the best or not, even with like Enterprise, you have time then to redeem yourself. You can have a bad episode one week. Not saying that there have been a bad episode, but just saying you could have one. Yeah. And the following week, you could have an ace and be totally fine and character driven. And still, it increases the plot.
Yeah.
Keeps going forward. Increases the story. You can tell a tiny story if you have, we always talk about, there has been politics in Star Trek, but it's been developed into a single episode.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, they talked about it. And then we move on.
Of the 5 episodes in season 2 so far, 4 have been completely character development driven. Of side stories, of nonsensical, holy crap, we're in space and this weird freaking thing happened. It doesn't the fate of the universe is not in the wind here. There's no, impending Romulan invasion. There's no this. It is.
And so there's 8 episodes
it is,
to find the
Spock
weapon.
is now human and is dealing with his adolescent, immature emotions and has to meet his fiance's parents.
It's very first episode. Spock's in command for the first time.
Spock's in command.
What does he do?
I would like the ship to go fast.
Now.
Yeah.
That one had some character or some like plot development in it, as all good Star Trek episodes do.
Yeah.
But it was mainly focused around a couple of different characters. The first two episodes were pretty much Una. They were number one. They were Una's trial and vindication and things like that. They were a holodeck episode, essentially, where I don't want to call it a holodeck episode, but they're stranded on their planet. They don't have their memories. They only have their emotions.
That one was a good one.
That was a really good one. I really liked that
very,
one.
Again, very Trek of like, hey, we're going to our base emotion or our base core functions and how we are. And it still says we cared about people. We're here to protect people and everything. It worked out great. I mean, this series is the most back to basic Trek since Voyager. I know, well, Enterprise was good. I people still mock it, and I say you got to watch the last season and a half. So season 2.5 to 3 were really good. I think but I know a lot of people mock it just for the opening title.
Yeah.
But it's. I love the fact that it's episodic, story driven, still, but individual, and
this reads like Star Trek of old. Season 2, Episode 1. A distress call from Noonien Singh compels Spock to disobey orders and take the USS Enterprise and its crew into disputed space. Season 2, Episode 2. Ad Astra Prospera. Commander Una faces court-martial with possible imprisonment and dishonorable dismissal from Starfleet, and her defense is in the hands of a lawyer who's also a childhood friend with whom she had a falling out. Tomorrow. La'an travels back into... Holy crap, this episode.
Yeah.
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Laan Noonien Sung, of that Noonien Sung, travels back in time to face her demons in an alternate reality with Kirk. Good God, what a phenomenal episode. And at the end of the day, nothing that happened in that episode matters one bit.
Yeah.
None of it. But because it technically never happened.
Well, and the best part, this is what Trek's always, I think, been really good at, is that you can jump in the middle of the season. Like we always talk, you can jump in the middle of season 3, 4, 5 in DS9 or TNG and be like, that was a good episode. I want to watch the next one.
Right.
You know, oh, now here's something different. Now here's something different.
It's not a season of 24 where I have to see the previous 17 to understand episode 18. It is...
Exactly.
The characters are very much in and of themselves characters. That's one of my biggest gripes of a lot of popular television in the last, well, you can go back as long as you want, where characters become a vehicle for the story rather than the characters evolving in their own right. And this feels very much a return to that TNG DS9 Voyager type character development where the characters bring on a life of themselves. And if you put them into a situation, how do the characters react?
And what I like this whole series, if it continues this way, which I really hope, and seems to be that they are, is easily they could syndicate this onto your standard cable TV show.
I expect to be able to see this on BBC in the next 6 years.
BBC, maybe like they give it to whatever, you know, CNBC or their Paramount. I forget what they're.
They better run reruns on Spike. That's all I can say.
Like Spike or TBS, or I think they own TBS. I think, whatever. One of those. Yeah. They could easily in 5 years run this just randomly and be like, "I'm entertained. I'm entertained." Yeah. I mean, it's totally fine. I can jump in the middle of a binge watch of this and be like, in the middle of the night, "Oh, this is fun. I don't know anything about it, but it's fun. It's sci-fi. It's humor. There is suspense. There's action. There's enough of everything here that is fun. It does remind me of Star Trek of old.
It's so
and
good.
I'm really enjoying
it's so good.
It's yes. Please, if you continue in any other Star Trek form, do this more. Yeah. More of this. More of this. Picard.
I loved Picard season 3. More so than I loved Picard seasons 1 and 2. Seasons 1 and 2 told a great overarching story with, you know, I've said C- and C+ results for season 1 and 2 respectively.
A+.
A+ for season 3. Simply because it's like, if you're going to tell an overarching story over 10 episodes, this is the way you do it. Because holy crap, that was amazing. Every single piece of it was flawless. If you're going to go episodic, Strange New Worlds. Holy crap, every episode is amazing.
It's great. There's enough. They still keep tradition of nostalgia in there, but still try to make it new with the newer tech, but they still try to like, hey, it's still this boxy square form. The buttons are still analog, but we make it a little bit shinier, you know, that type of vibe. Mm-hmm. And it's great. Here's one critique, maybe you like it or not. I don't like Kirk, the character, the actor who plays Kirk.
I don't mind him at all.
It's not that I don't like him. It's just not Kirk to me.
Here's the problem, and let me see if I can change your mind really quick.
Okay.
When have we seen the James T. Kirk that is the James T. Kirk we know? Because 2 of his 3 episodes that Kirk has been in have been alternate timelines.
No.
Yes.
We
saw him in the future prediction of the Romulus War, the starting of the Romulan War, which never happened because Pike died before Kirk took possession of the Enterprise, and so Kirk prevented the Romulus War, which means that Kirk never existed. And then the Kirk who went back in time with Laan was also alternate timeline Kirk, in which Earth never existed. He was born on Iowa Space Dock. We've never met the Kirk from Universe A outside of like 2 or 3 minutes of interaction. So the Kirk that you're saying you don't like is not Alpha Universe Kirk.
Sure. Okay. I'll give you that. I can give you that. If they kept it that way, I could probably live with it.
I also don't hate the Kirk that he's played. I don't.
Yeah. Personal pet peeve. I think that's what it is.
So
that's really all. But that again, these are the critiques that I have for it. It's very minor.
Are you a fan of Sam Kirk at least?
Sam Kirk, I like with the mustache.
The mustache,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I love the callback that it's the same person just with a mustache on.
Yeah, I know. I love it. And I love the new engineer. I like that.
Yes.
She's great. So there's a lot of sure. If you wanted to dissect stuff really down to its core and the fan base, you could do that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I can nitpick a bunch, but as just I'm gonna sit back, enjoy. Great, I love it. It's fantastic.
We can sit here. I think we'll close with this. We can sit here and we can nitpick Strange New Worlds to the end of time and back.
Yeah.
We could also do that for TNG. We could also do that for DS9. We could also do that for Voyager. Or you can just sit back and enjoy good television. Because at the end of the day, canon is only what the writers make it. It's only what the audience makes it. And yeah, if you want everything to match unequivocally to a T and everything, go write your own story. Because we're talking about television that has existed over the course of nearly 65, 70 years now. And it evolves. And Star Trek has always been a series that tries to question modern society, modern standards, maybe humanity could be something better, and tried to tell good stories along the way. And I love what it's done, and I love what Strange New Worlds has become, and I think it's the perfect flagship to carry Star Trek into the future.
Oh yeah, I think so too, and I really hope they continue this way with whatever direction they continue to go. I hope it's futuristic and not keep going to the past. History things. I'd like to see something beyond, say, Picard season 3. That's something I would like to see. Unfortunately, actually, I don't know if slightly quick sad news on Star Trek. The kids one got canceled. The Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
show.
Prodigy got canceled.
Prodigy got canceled after one season.
I'm not super surprised by that.
I'm not either, but there were like nitbits. I like Chakotay got back in there, the original actor. Janeway was originally back. They even did a Dark Universe, alternate universe version of Janeway.
Yeah.
So there were bits of it. I believe there is another kids show. It's supposed to be like Starfleet Academy, something along that line that's coming out. But that's even more kid, like supposed to hit even a younger audience, I believe.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get my son into that. That'd be fun I am so tired of some. I love Bluey. Don't get me wrong, but I can only watch so much.
Right? Who doesn't love Bluey? But at the same time, when you can say it word for word in your head, it's like it's time for something new.
I know. I mean, if I don't watch it for a month, the same jokes. Okay, that's funny because I love that they throw a little bit of adult humor in there.
Yeah.
But yeah. No. Again, we'll end up this, but. Super happy in the direction everything is going with Trek right now.
Yeah.
Hope it continues.
Yep. All right. That has been episode 294 here on Talking Heads. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. If you like the beer content on this show, make sure to subscribe to Hops and Brews. Link is down in the video description. Follow us on the social medias at Craft Computing, at Hops and Brews, whichever direction my fingers need to point in whichever case. Join the Patreon, get access to the Discord server, chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads all through the week. And John, anything to add?
Nothing. I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes, that should be a lot of fun.
That should be a lot of fun.
For those who haven't heard, it's Hops and Brews and Craft Computing in Vegas.
That's right, baby. Vegas.
John has never been to Vegas.
I have not. I've been to the airport and never out of it. Well,
Yeah.
never out of the airport.
Yeah, well, that's like me saying I've been to Denver. I've been to the Denver airport numerous times. I've never left the airport.
Yes, that's what happens. I played some slots in the air. I had like an hour and a half layover, and that was it.
I have been to Phoenix. Screw Phoenix.
I have been to Phoenix, so yes.
I have been to Phoenix, not just the airport, but screw Phoenix. I hate Phoenix. Anyway, sorry you have to live there. This has been episode 294. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you